Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the night edition. It is almost 7 p.m. my time, which is about the time that I set this live stream to go. And yeah, so I'm in, and it's a very cool night. I wasn't planning on wearing a hoodie. I was thinking it was going to be nice and subtle outside, basketball shorts, t-shirt would have been totally cool, but nope, I was wrong. But anyways, welcome in, Blade, welcome, Alternate Reality, welcome in, and yeah, so got lots to share with you guys on ideas that's just been kind of like brewing in my head. Jeremy, what's up? Welcome into the live stream. Yeah, there's ideas that I have and that I'm actually acting out on. So I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys about it to get you guys feedback about the ideas that I have. And then also at the same time too, yeah, I'm talking a little bit about Visible as well, like my being back with them. It was funny, was it yesterday? Some of the fellows that was talking in the little group chat made mention that like I hop from like carrier to carrier and whatnot. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it goes. I switch carriers to whatever fits my need at the certain time, but once I don't have that need for that or specific thing, then I end up going to something else. But yeah, it's going to be a while that I'm on Visible. So yeah, that is going to be my main line. The other T-Mobile lines are going to fall off, I think, in December. I think that's the end of my 90-day network pass. And so, yeah, I'll be on Visible. I'm using Visible eSIM, so I don't have a physical SIM card, but swapping in between devices shouldn't be too hard for me to do. So that's coming down later on. We'll talk more into that a little bit later on, but kind of excited to talk to you guys about, what I kickstarted off today and get you guys hip to the fact. You're thinking of switching to the $45 plan? The $45 plan is pretty good. I'll tell you that much, Mike. It's doing very good. It's not capped for one. So I'm pretty kind of happy about that. So it goes beyond 200 megabits for me, which in my area, I'm able to utilize that. So I'm just glad that it's opened up to do that. But also the international calling of the 30 countries that's allowed, one of them is where my family is at. So that means I have all the, the calling. I don't think it's unlimited calling, but I have the ability to call to those countries, and that's always a good thing. So we'll kind of look at that a little bit later on. I'll pull up the Visible site and just go over, what intrigued me about the 45 plus plan. I'll get into that a little bit later on. All right. So without further ado, let's kind of kick this off. Trying out photography, right? So it's kind of funny because the idea for me to want to do something like this doesn't stem from like trying to to get noticed for photography. It's just something that I found myself getting more and more interested in, and wanting to do. Like, my brother does it. It's a passion of his, and so like, I watch the stuff that he posts. I watch the things that he's able to do. And the day that I vlogged about him buying a Pixel 6a from Best Buy, we went around the city, and I was watching him just take photos, because that's what he enjoys to do. And I was watching all these different techniques that he does, and the things that he'll do to get a good photo. And I was just like, that's very interesting, like, it intrigued me. But even after like watching my brother do all this stuff, YouTuber Delvon Digital was another person who inspired me. Watching his videos and listening to him talk about the stuff that he does, and then his Instagram account, which I'm following, he takes some pretty amazing photos. And then for him to say in his YouTube videos that some of those photos he used a Pixel to do that was just really amazing. That he did that. And then you have on Twitter Ace Lucero, who also he drives around my state. Like, he lives in my state. I don't know where he lives, if he lives in my city, if he lives in the outskirts of my city. Like, I never connected with him on social media to say, hey, let's meet up. But I know that he doesn't live too far from me, as far as like, he's in my state. And I watch what he posts on Twitter, like where he drives out on these back highways and everything like that, and he takes some photos that are just immaculate. And I'm like, I want to do something like that. I want to have fun taking photos and just seeing what I can come up with, seeing what kind of portfolio I can create on Instagram. And it just, one thing led to another, right? Which is today I launched a new community on Twitter. Link in the description of this live stream if you want to be able to join it. What's up, Vincent? Welcome in. But link in the description if you want to join the community. And you don't have to be like a photographer to join that community. The whole purpose of that community is, people have an eye for things, and they take a picture of it with their smartphones. And that's the entire point. Like, I know it's kind of like branded towards Pixel, because the name of the community is Shot on Pixel. But I do encourage people that don't use Pixels to also post and share their photos as well, photos that they've taken that they were extremely proud of, because it gives people a sense, like, you're going to see people posting their pictures that they took from their Pixel phones. If we have people posting from iPhones, if we have people posting from Samsung Galaxies, I think that kind of like balances it out, so people can see like, oh, okay, well, this person snapped a photo with the Galaxy S22 Ultra, and this is how it came out. It kind of gives them an idea of what they can do, help them basically decide on a phone that they're going to be most happy and most content using. So yes, the link is in the description to that community if you'd like to join it. I would appreciate if you join it right now. Since starting it, we're at 16 members on the community. Shout outs to those that accepted the invite and came in. I really appreciate you guys for doing that. How am I liking the Pixel 7? I'm loving the Pixel 7. Full review probably mid-November, maybe end of November. I'll drop that video then. And or maybe I'll just do it as a live stream, so then that way I can have like a live interaction while I'm giving my thoughts on it. But it'll be sometime next month, because I want some time to really just kind of play around with it. Right now it is my daily driver alongside my Pixel 6, so I have Pixel 6 for reference compared to the Pixel 7. That way I can see the subtle changes from what they did on the 6 to what they did on the 7, and also the changes with the Tensor G2 from the G1. What's up, Mill Hustles? What's going on? CV Tech, what's up? What's happening? So so my interest in photography peaked, and I'm doing that, and emergency services is driving by. And I'll kind of show you guys. So let me share with you guys the community itself, so you guys can check it out. Let's pop Twitter here, and there you have it. So there is the community page. It is called Shot on Pixel. And like I said, you don't need to have a Pixel phone to join this group. You can post photos from whatever device you are using, OnePlus, Xiaomi, any of those devices, you can post it on there. I really would love like other photos taken from different devices, but mainly The reason that it is called that way, it's mainly a home spot for those people who are amateur photographers or just into photography and have Google Pixel phones, and they're gonna post and share. So, geez, something bad happened. Yep, and it's not far from where I'm at. I bet you it's across the street at the apartment complex. There's always cops on weekends over there. But you can see a good amount of photos being posted. Tony Pazzo, shout out to him. He posted a couple videos, pictures. My brother is actually a part of this community, and he's, like I said, he's a really good amateur photographer. I mean, his Instagram account is just, his old Instagram account, I wouldn't suggest anyone go to it just because it was hacked and taken over. His new account, he's slowly building it back up, but this was a picture that he took today at work. So let's see if it stays in the same tab and opens up to like full. Make sure that you guys can see like the full photo. LOL live PD. Yeah. Hey Michael, what's going on, man? The sad part about doing this on Twitter, and I made mention to my brother about it though, for him to understand, is that Twitter compresses photos that we upload, so our full resolution photo is not what's posted on the Twitter feed. Nonetheless, though, you kind of get an idea of what you can do with your Pixel device, or even just whatever smartphone you're using. So yeah, my brother's in here. He's gonna be posting some stuff. I'm posting stuff regularly. Tony Pazzo's in here. I am happy that from the publication Chrome Unboxed, Jojo the Techie, who's, I believe she's a writer for them, is also a part of the. I'm glad to have her on board. So shout out for her, taking the invite and coming aboard that. She was also recently brought into Team Pixel, so she's the newest Team Pixel member. But yeah, I've been posting photos in there. Yeah, we got Twin Folk Tech in here too. We dropped a photo earlier today, and I thought I would meet. There's JoJo, so she's part of it now. And then I was very honored to have Mike from Team BRI and Rishi from Altered Tech both jumped on to also start posting photos in the community itself. So it's just really just showcasing what mobile device cameras can do. So that's the idea of it. So that's the whole point of this community. I believe Mike from B-Tech Reviews joined in too. Very honored to have him on there too. So I'm getting a good mix of people. I'm getting friends on Twitter that are joining it, and wow, it's actually telling me that something is wrong. Anyways, okay, so kind of close that out. But yeah, a good mix of people. So friends are on there, and then also getting some people that are very heavy into the tech space or very heavy into photography. Thank you for joining. We just got someone that just joined the community, so thank you so much for that. And it's gonna stick around. It's I don't expect it to be lit and always having conversations like if it was a community about tech. But it's just if you want to show a photo that you took and you want some feedback on it, we're on there. We're all on there. We'll see it. We'll be able to give some feedback on it. And the stuff that I take, since I'm now starting to try out, just kind of dedicate towards mobile photography, and getting your guys' feedback I think will be crucial to help me advance and grow. So Twitter may go through some changes that we might like or might not like. Yeah, I don't really care about the whole Elon thing, dude. I don't really focus on that anymore, just because I'm pretty much all around on social platforms. If one goes down or if one goes so bad, there are other ones that I'm active on that I can just avert my time to. Yeah, I have quite a bit of social platforms. Very hard to juggle all of them. So that's how it goes. And, honestly, the whole thing about Twitter and free speech thing, it's it's always one-sided to the other side or whatever. So it's just I just don't pay attention to it, man. I just feel that it eats up a lot of valuable time that I could be allocating to things that actually mattered in my life, like you guys. I'd rather be on here talking to you guys about the things that I'm about to do and get your guys' input on it. Yeah, so I ain't worried about it. Anyways, so there's Twitter, right? To build a portfolio, I'm using Instagram, and I'm using Instagram in its original form, right? So on this Instagram page, I have no intentions of posting reels or short form content on it or videos. I'm not going to go live on it. It's not for any of that. All it's for was what Instagram was initially started up for, which was for a user to be able to post photos that they've taken and allow people to kind of look at them, critique them, get feedback on them, or just share whatever your photo did to them. Like if it made them feel something, if it triggered an old memory, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? That's originally what Instagram is for. I also have an account on Vero, which is a competitor to Instagram, and is actually really focused on photography more than anything. That's how I was able to discover Delvon Digital's photography. Originally first was on Vero. He has a Vero account, and I followed him on it and watched a lot of the content he was posting about his photography, and also knew that he was going to have an Instagram and that he had a YouTube channel also as well. So that's how I was able to find him. And then you have Rishi from Altered Tech, who takes amazing photos with the phones that he has. He's took amazing photos with OnePlus devices. He has taken great photos with iPhones. He has taken great photos with currently Samsung devices that he's using. And I've always admired the photos that he's taken, that he's shared on Twitter, which we know that Twitter compresses those photos. So to see just how good the photos look on a platform that compresses it, look that good. Just imagine if you saw the raw photo itself, like if he was to just like be right in front of you and just open up his gallery and pull the photo up where you can see it in its full resolution. I mean, that's just crazy. Lawrence, what's up, man? Good afternoon or good morning. Good evening. It's like 7:13 p.m. Sun goes down a lot earlier now that we're into the fall season. I'm kind of happy for that. Vincent says his wife is into photography. Awesome. Well, that's cool. Why is that? You guys can follow the community, and you guys can post and share your guys' photos too. What you guys take and everything like that. I run that community on the premise that we're not gonna allow anyone to be flamed. Like, it's more on a positive side thing. So you have to be open to critical feedback, but I'm not going to let anybody bully anybody or make fun of anybody for whatever they share on there. So it's 9 p.m. here in Texas. Yep. Where my buddy Lawrence is at, it is about 4:14 p.m. his time in Hawaii. So, but yeah. So let me share my Instagram real quick. And you guys can see what it looks like. I only got a couple of photos on there. I don't have like a giant portfolio of photos, but you kind of get an idea of like, what I'm going to be doing on Instagram. So you guys can see I shared the community there because the community is tied in with my Instagram account. And just a couple of photos that I've taken with either the Pixel 6 or the Pixel 7. These are just like straight shots, right? I really want to call myself an amateur photographer, and I'm still learning things, but just doing what I can, and getting a feel for it. One of my favorite photos that I've posted, actually there's two of them, they're black and whites. So it's the one on the far right, which was a small bridge at Indian Steel Park. It was just, I don't know, I just thought it was cool. So I snapped a photo, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I think this would look better without color, and just decided to avert it to black and white. So right now, like the tools that I'm using Google Photos with its editing, but I'm also using Snapseed to start doing some other stuff with photography and just creating my own crazy world of photos. To the far left of that black and white photo of the bridge, there is my youngest son and his teacher. And that was on Earth Day. They like in the middle of the courtyard of his his elementary school, they have these little areas set up for plants, and every year the plants that grow out of them, they move them to a different nursery to continue to grow. And on Earth Day, you plant a plant. So my son wanted to plant some broccoli. So in that little area, that's what he's doing. He's actually making a hole in the soil. And in his other hand, he has broccoli seeds that he's about to put in there and then cover up and, let it grow. And right now, he says that it's already sprouted out of the soil. So that's actually pretty cool. And then, of course, just some other stuff that I'll just like, hey, let me snap a photo. These are the types of photos I'm going to be posting. So you're probably seeing like similar photos like this on my main Instagram account. Difference is that there will be no reels. There will be no videos. None of that stuff is going to be on that Instagram account except for photos. That is the entire point of it. And that's how it's going to stay. And then also, I may push on Vero. I do have a Vero account as well, which I've been uploading photos to that too. And just been getting some feedback from other photographers around the world. So like right now, mostly focused on the community on Twitter and Instagram. Vero, a little bit here and there until things pick up. I do have a PixArt account. And that's also towards photography. And then I also have a Tumblr that I post photos to as well. And so like on all those platforms, I connect with different types of photographers to kind of just get a footing of like, what would you classify my genre of shooting or anything like that? Because right now, to me, I don't know what genre I am. I just know that it's a cluster of a lot of different things. We got some night shots. I got some family photos. I got, just some like city life sceneries, those types of things. So yeah, but that is my Instagram. It is shot.on.pixels. That is the handle for the Instagram account. Right now, I think we're like 53 followers on the gram. 54. I just got another one. Okay. So we're at 54 followers on the gram and growing. My main Instagram, I think it still sits at like 2,400 and something, but that's totally different. Has nothing to do with my photography. And yeah, I wish California would join Arizona, stop celebrating spring forward, fall back. Oh, you're talking about daylight savings. I don't even know why you would want to stop daylight savings. Like, to be honest, if you want to share your reasonings why would you want to get rid of daylight savings? To be honest, I know Arizona doesn't switch because where we exactly sit in this whole timeline thing, we just don't change. There's no point for us to, because how you put it. So the whole daylight savings things, one of the things that I do know about it and why I was okay with it was just because, basically the sunrise and the sunset, bro. During the middle of the year, the sun rises. The sun rises a bit early and sets pretty late. Towards this time of the year, the sun rises a little late. And it sets pretty early. Like if you go back to any of my live streams in the month of August, at this time, at 7:20 p.m. my time, it would still be lit out. It wouldn't be this dark. Why do you hate daylight savings? Daylight savings sometimes gives elderly people heart attacks. Why? I wish we would stay on DST. I'm just curious to know why. Why are some of you guys saying that you guys want to get rid of daylight savings? That's an interesting thing. I've heard people talking about it. And I'm just interested in the mindset as to why. It gets dark early in winter when we fall back. Yeah, because the only thing that's going to be weird is just like my schedule. Well, they are getting rid of it. They are. I haven't heard anything about that. I've heard that, that it's been a thing that's thought of, but I never heard it officially get done. The GA gets dark by 5:30 in the winter. Yeah. I'm curious about that. Like, consider my place of cone of silence. Don't be afraid to like type out your reasoning. No one's gonna get shut down. I don't do that on this channel, so you're good. But anyways, yeah, the Instagram profile is also linked in the description if you guys want to follow it and see like what kind of photos I post. I don't post every day on that Instagram account, so it's like photos that I feel like that are like worthy enough. Winter on the East Coast gets dark at 5:30. If we stay on a DST, it gets dark at 6:30. Gotcha. Because I mean, like, if they get rid of daylight savings, then the two places that's not going to be affected by it, Hawaii, Arizona. They don't move their clocks back or forward. Elderly people losing 1 hour. Hold on. Elderly people losing 1 hour sleep because shock to their system resulting in stress-induced heart attacks. But are they really losing an hour of sleep? Because remember, let's say like they normally get up at 6:30, but then on the clock it's gonna say 5:30. But if they normally go to bed at 7, then they'll be going to bed at like 6. So it's like they're not really losing an hour. If you normally go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and get up at 6 in the morning, then even if the clock goes back 1 hour, you're still going to bed at 8 o'clock, getting up at 6 in the morning because you're going by what the clock says. A lot of people mentally are visual. So it's not like that they take an hour out of the day. We're only at 23 hours a day. It's still a full 24 hours. We have electricity, batteries, and other sources of energy. So the sun is not our only source of heat and light. But that's not the whole purpose of it. It's not for energy or any of that stuff per se. I mean, if there's companies that rely on like solar energy or whatever, that's on them. But that's not the entire reason why they did that way back in the day when they developed daylight savings. Really, it was just to allow, because most people are along with the light of day, right? There are people who rise once the sky is lit enough from the sun where it's no longer dark outside, so they wake up to it, they go to sleep when it's dark, right? And that was the whole thing. It's because days are, the day is going to be shorter from now until about April or May. We need the sun in evening, not morning. They want to stay on daylight savings time year round. Wow, that's crazy. For spring forward, the time changes at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. So if you go to bed at 10 at night before, you are losing an hour of sleep on that one day, not on every day. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not arguing with you guys about it. I just want to know, I mean, you guys are giving me like points, but if I'm going to be honest with you guys and be blunt about it, like the points are not detrimental to human society. So I'm still I guess I'm looking for like a super, it's not a valid, but a super good reasoning to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Hey, Simply Your Device, welcome. Hey, welcome in, man. Glad to have you here. Glad you came in. We're in an interesting conversation right now. It went completely left field. We're talking about daylight savings, so please chime in on your thoughts, whether you're okay with it, being changed to be permanent or not. This is a cone of silence, so it doesn't matter. No one bullies anybody on this live stream, so freely speak your mind. I'm a night owl, so I'm awake when the change happens. I hate it when I get off work at 6 a.m. and the sun is up. Gotcha. Hey, Redbeard Kev, what's up? Welcome in. I'm just curious to know because I've heard so many different reasons why people want to get rid of daylight savings or stay on daylight savings permanently and not do these time switches. I experienced better call quality today on my T-Mobile network pass compared to AT&T, which sounded funny to me, and the person on the other end thought I was underwater. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Appreciate it, Ricky, man. Appreciate you for that. Getting rid of daylight savings time would be horrible. Switching back and forth is pain. Yeah, no, I mean it's pain all the way around though. But yeah, I was just curious about it. You're not a fan. You're not a fan of daylight savings, or you're not a fan of changing it. T-Mobile call quality is trash. I mean, there's places where like here in my city, the call quality is not trash, I would say, but Visible, I do have better call quality on Visible and on Verizon's network than I do with T-Mobile. Like T-Mobile, I can hear end to end is clear on both sides, but that was just something weird when using Visible, which is on Verizon's network, which has lower priority access. But for some reason, with just the call quality itself, sounds a bit more crispier and a bit more sharp, if that makes sense. That's something I did notice between the two. I did post some tweets today, some speed tests from the ultra wideband N77 on Visible, and then the ultra capacity N41 on T-Mobile. And I also shared an NPerf full benchmark comparison for those people who are interested in that. So that's on the Twitter timeline. So just go through my main Twitter account and you'll find them for those that were interested. I did get those results posted. But yeah, it can go either way. Standard time is horrible. We need year-round savings time. So it's basically getting off the standard time and going into the daylight savings time at becoming standard. If your phone call sounded extra crispy, you get hungry. Speaking of crispy, oh god, I forgot their YouTube channel, but there's three guys out of Singapore that talk about mobile technology, and they do it in a very comical way. And that's like one of their taglines. Their taglines when they talk about like a phone and they describe how good it is, they always use the terminology, "It's so crispy." It's so weird. Okay, let's change the subject. I won't be doing skunky. Don't want rabies. Yeah, I know where you stand on T-Mobile, Ricky. I know where you stand on T-Mobile. Since we're talking about T-Mobile and Visible, like I said, phone calls have been crispy and sharp. The network speed has actually been really good. So I'll do one live right now. So we'll do Visible first. And it's really weird because the UW logo pops off for a little while when I'm not using my phone, and then it kicks on when I am about to do a speed test. So like right now, it's kind of kicked on. I know it's not that clear. My laptop's camera is trash. But we'll do a quick speed test so you guys can see. Let's do it like that. That way it's not reflecting so much, and then you can see the latency and everything like that. All right, so we got 321 on the down, and I know it's reversed the way that the camera is. I know it's backwards to some. I don't know. Maybe I should change it up to where it's like mirrored. But then when I hold up my left hand, it'll be on the right side. I guess we'll do it that way. Anyways, it finished. So that was the results. 321 down, 59.4 on the up. Okay, hang on 1 second. Let's do video, and let's not mirror the camera. So I have that turned off now. Now when I hold up my right hand, it's on the left side. So if I show you it now, it should look right to you guys. 321, 59.4. Okay, so that was Visible. Now, the Pixel is running on T-Mobile's 90-day pass. Actually, right now it's running on the Wi-Fi. So let me turn this off. Oh, shoot. I missed the thing. Looks like my lady found some stuff that the kids might be interested in having for a snack. One of those giant tins from Cheetos. It's called the Backbone. So one side is flaming hot, the other side is white cheddar. And send me a picture of that, seeing if the kids would be interested in that. All right, so let's run a speed test. So we are on T-Mobile's network, 5G UC, and someone's probably gonna go in there. And yeah, I hope you're sharing. You're visible. Oh, you mean like to get the monthly referral? I haven't shared my code yet. I'm not worried about paying $45 a month, but yeah, I'll start sharing it though. I'll probably post the code to my Twitter bio. Where the hell is Ookla at? Okay. Hey, you know what? I'll run an NPerf live for you guys too as well. All right, so let's do the speed test on the Pixel 6 with T-Mobile. And there it goes. I'm trying not to have like the screen reflect off the Pixel 6 screen. Okay, 171 down. Okay, so this more than likely is not on N41 SA. Usually when it's on N41 SA, the uplink is like 10. Jeez, did someone else get hurt? All right, so yeah, that's the final results. 171 by 48.5. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open up NPerf. I'm gonna let it run, and then I'll show you guys the full benchmark results. So let me get NPerf opened up on the Pixel 7. So open up NPerf, and I'm gonna do a full benchmark. So, all right. So it says on the T-Mobile one, it says 4G Plus or LTE-A, T-Mobile, Sprint. But okay. All right. Boom, boom. Let's go. And I'll let them off. Let them go, and then I'll show you guys what the results are. Probably the ambulance going to the hospital. There's not a hospital by me. No, this weekend has been kind of crazy. Everyone's been having like their Halloween parties this weekend. I know my neighbors over the wall there had theirs, and they were pretty drunk last night after I got off the live stream and started the barbecue, which came out pretty good. So right now on the NPerf test, they are doing the website tests right now. They're both doing the Zoom. Well, actually, the visible one got passed. It's a little bit further now in the testing than it is on the T-Mobile one. Because I clicked the T-Mobile one first, so it should have had like at least a 5-second lead. It's now behind on the tests. The visible one is now running the 720p video testing, and it's about to go to the 1080p, and T-Mobile just started their 720p test. So now we're on the 1080p test. So we go into speed test networks. Time for Tito to bring in Carlos. Okay, so we got one of the scores here. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna screenshot this because it shows my address at the bottom. I don't need anyone getting my address, so I'm gonna screenshot it and just kind of save the screenshot without my location, and then I'll pull up that photo. Do the same thing on T-Mobile here. And make sure, well, you guys can tell it's T-Mobile. When I put any device that's running T-Mobile on T-Mobile's network, if I put it near this microphone, it starts to go zzz. Okay. All right. So go into my Google Photos and pull up that screenshot, and I'll show you guys what the results were. Y'all can take a guess, though. What do you think it benchmarked at? If you guys want to just take a guess. No, Google Photos. Google Photos. Let's see. Okay. There we go. All right. So, here's T-Mobile. Right. So 10,171. and browsing was 75.34, and then streaming was 90.62, and those were your speeds. So 429.29 max, and then 31.79 max. Well, no, those aren't the max. The maxes were those are the max. The average was 240.82, and the average on the upload was 25.59. With latency was 98 milliseconds. Average was 131 milliseconds with 61 millisecond jitter. So that is T-Mobile. Visible. Do the unlock up. Well, Visible panned off at 12,715 on the Pixel 7. T-Mobile's on the Pixel 6. Right, 82.13% for browsing, 96.82 on the stream. We have 448.84 max on the download, 50.41 max on the upload, 63 millisecond ping. The average was 70 milliseconds. The average download speed was 330.29 megabits per second, and the average upload was 44.40. So that is Visible. So that is the NPerf speed test live, full benchmark live right now. Zoom probably dragged down the score. Yeah. But even the earlier results on Twitter were pretty much like the same, right? So, and of course, you're also thinking about things here too, right? Like the power and efficiency of the Tensor G2 versus the Tensor G1, because that also plays a factor in it too as well, right? You're also talking about the modem itself, right? So the 5123 Exynos modem on the Pixel 6, and then the 5300 Exynos modem on the Pixel 7. So those are going to be determining factors in all this, right? The point is not to say that like T-Mobile is trash, Visible is so much better. That's not the point that I did the full benchmark. What I'm showing you guys is, basically the components, the hardware to both of these devices. And this is the type of thing that I'm expecting to see, right? So it's not a super drastic difference between the 6 and the 7, but there is a marginal difference, right? If they were so close together in the full benchmark, it would be a little down, a little depressing. So yeah, the Pixel 7 has strides over the Pixel 6, and by right it should. Yeah, because at the end of the day, and Visible's good, Verizon's good. They're getting better in my city, and that's the reason why I also jumped back on Visible, was because a lot of the upgrades they did here are, at least in the areas that I travel to, are finished. They still are doing more upgrades all across my city, but in the areas that I go to, they've made some upgrades here, right? So like you guys see how T-Mobile is. It's not bad here either, right? But there are people who are just like, I guess they're really weird on wanting something to fail so badly, and I just don't know why. Do you think YouTube Premium should offer more features to give customers more bang for their buck after raising the family plan to $22.99? Yeah. They're gonna raise it to that. They need to offer a little bit more. Yes, I'm on the $45 Visible Plus plan. That's the plan that I have. It's got that international calling. So anyways, let me pull up the Visible's website real quick. We'll be live for another 20 minutes, by the way, folks. Okay, let me just share this screen with you guys. Visible is great at 15 for 2 lines with referral credits. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. 2 lines for $15, of course. Of course, man. I wouldn't disagree with you there at all. The less you pay, the more you get. It's a good thing. All right, so that's we're on Visible's website. What I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I clicked on the plan, so of course there's 2 plans, 2 unlimited plans to better fit your needs. Anyhow, so the $30 is unlimited talk, text, and data, 5G nationwide, and 4G LTE. And I don't believe that the $30 plan gives you ultra wideband access. So even if you have a device that does support N77, I don't think you connect to it. You get unlimited hotspot. It's capped at 5x5, and then you get spam protection, unlimited talk and text to Mexico and Canada. Right now, on the 45 plus, or the Visible Plus plan, which is $45 a month, the unlimited talk, text, and data, you get 5G nationwide and 4G LTE connection, as well as 5G ultra wideband. So you do get N77 connection on that. Hotspot is probably 5x5. However, I've been hearing talks that people are able to kind of like get around that. And so I'm definitely intrigued by that. You get spam protection, unlimited talk and text to Mexico and Canada, unlimited talk and text and data, roaming in Mexico and Canada, international calling from the US to 30 plus countries, international texting from the US to 200 plus countries. I'll click this here to kind of find out. Let's see, international calling from the US to 30 plus countries is 500 minutes per month. So I probably talk maybe about twice a week, about 20 minutes each call. So I'm not going to go over that 500 minutes. So while Google Fi offered, unlimited calling to where my family's at in Thailand, 65 a month was getting kind of steep, especially with today, how gas prices are. As you can see, the countries that are in that 30 country list, we'll start from the bottom, the United Kingdom, then the motherland for me, which is Thailand, Sweden, Spain, South Korea, Singapore, Peru, Norway, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Malaysia, Japan, Italy, Israel, Ireland, India, Iceland, Hong Kong, Greece, Germany, France, Denmark, Costa Rica, Colombia, China, Brazil, Bermuda, Belgium, Austria, and Australia. Those are the countries that you can call from the US to and have 500 minutes a month to talk internationally. So at $45 a month, that's actually not bad at all. Not bad. I don't want T-Mobile to fail. I want them to do right, build it right, catch up to 71% of the population like Verizon. Zoom does make it bad. Yeah, it does. I joined YouTube Red in June of 2016, $9.99, then $14.99 in November of 2016 to April 2023. So 7 years of $14.99 on YouTube Premium. Got it. I saw on the news on ABC 30 that eBay is banning the sale of all costumes that promote. I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. I feel for the families that were affected by Jeffrey Dahmer. But I mean, what's supposed to were we supposed to hide the fact that he was never around, that these things never happened? Because if we hide that, then how would anyone learn from it? How would anyone be able to profile it? Yeah, there's just some things that I feel that's just weird. I just think that issues touch a lot of sensitive people. And sometimes sensitive people just don't know how to turn the other way. They have to turn everything into a just cause. So me, I always say to people, you gotta learn to pick your battles. Anyways, so that's Visible. And I guess I'll put my promo code later on in the description. So if you want to try out Visible, come back, check out my promo code, or you can find promo codes everywhere. A lot of people are doing it, especially since they did away with Party Pay. So I think if you're legacied, if you're on the legacy Visible plan, then yeah, you're okay on your Party. But if you're on any of the new plans, you don't get access to any of the parties. You can't join a Party Pay. I saw on Facebook that someone dressed their kid for Halloween as Dahmer. A lot of people are going to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Whatever's happening in the now, people tend to kind of do that, right? Like, I'm sure someone went ahead and quoted the movie, or not the movie, but the TV show from Netflix. They quoted it on TikTok, and they're using it as a popular TikTok thing. It's just so weird. Yeah, I think the knowledge of monsters is good to protect yourself from future animals. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that we should censor everything to that degree where no one knows anything about it, because then you can't profile it. Then you can't protect yourself. Yeah, I mean. So that's me. But yeah, my experience on Visible has been good. I'm looking forward to not having to interact with customer care very often. But I'm one of the lucky ones where Activating on eSIM hasn't caused me any issues. My line hasn't gone down and remained off for hours and hours at a time. It's been a good transition over. So, of course, I didn't port a number. I just got a new number with them, so totally fine. At least not for my family though. They're gonna be pissed off when I text them and say, "Hey, it's me. Save this in your contact under my name and erase the other one." Because then I'm sure my whole family is just annoyed with that already. They're like, "Dude, you change numbers like you change socks." Like, yes, that happens. But promoting the monster and acting like the monster is bad. Yeah. Well, there's always two sides to a coin. I mean, this is why like, I tell people when people are asking me, like, should life be like this? Should we start thinking this way or thinking that way? I always refer to yin and yang, right? Yin yang. You cannot have one without the other. There's always going to be a middle ground balance. It's never going to be 50-50, but there's always going to be a middle ground balance. That's the reason why the yin yang logo is the way it is, right? So it's a curve in the middle that separates it. So on the bottom left, it's larger than on the top left. And then the top right is larger than the bottom right. The reason is that way is to signify that there has to be one without the other. There is an idea of balance, which is what that curved middle line means, but it's never 50-50. So it's not a straight line to make it straight even on each side. Sometimes it's going to be less than the other. Sometimes it's going to be more than the other. But at the end of the day, one cannot be without the other. You cannot have light without darkness. Or how do you, define light? Or how do you define darkness? You cannot have good without evil. Because if so, how do you define good if there's no opposition of the balance of it? It has to exist. You cannot obliterate one side of it because you want to be like in the 1980s, We Are the World, and listen to that. Whoa, how long was that song? Like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes? It had everybody. Michael Jackson, it had Billy Joel, it had Madonna, it had Tina Turner, it had a lot of well-known celebrities singing We Are the World, and classic song and everything. But you cannot obliterate one side and not have the other, because then you cannot identify one side from the other. That's just how it is. Star Wars is a science fiction version of yin yang. Star Wars really just kind of takes a lot of those concepts that belief structures out of Asia and brings it into a post-future type environment, right? Like you look at the Jedi, and the Jedi are monks. They pretty much are. They've adopted a lot of the things of like Buddhist monks, but with other things kind of incorporated in, so it doesn't really like feel exactly like it. Yeah, it's crazy how that goes. Gene came in. You didn't miss it. Welcome. Just for Gene, I'll stay on a little bit longer. But yeah, I think what it really comes down to is yourself, right? Your self-control, your self-thoughts. You know what I mean? What you teach your kids if you have kids, right? That's your responsibility. Your responsibility for your actions, right? And I think that's where a lot of it got lost in the process, though, is that because I know people who have done some things and then, they blame it on everyone around them. And it's like, yeah, you were out rioting with them a couple years ago and, you masked up and you attacked people. But now that you're going to pay the piper, now you want to blame them for it? You decided to join them. You decided to go out there and wreck stores and do all that stuff. So that's you. You got to take responsibility for what you did. You can't just blame everyone else that was a part of that group. You can't put it all on them. That's not fair. But they see things differently. They feel like that's a good enough excuse. And hey, it is what it is. Yes, they are. I've seen that movie. Yeah, no problem. Gene, you can chime in on any of the past subjects that we talked about. You can chime in on photography. Check out the community and the Instagram profile. You can give us your feedback if you're for daylight savings, or you want to end daylight savings, or you want it permanently on the daylight savings time, or if you want time to stay on the standard time, 366 on a leap year. You let us know. Jedi are the only monks that will carve their opponent with a sword. I really wouldn't call it a sword, man. I mean, they obliterate you with a lightsaber. Well, interesting fact, though. I mean, Sith weapons are actually more powerful than the lightsaber. So, like the modern Sith that we see a lot of, that are using lightsabers, like the OG Sith were more for Sith weaponry. And then, of course, what the Mandalorian has, that dark saber, is actually a Sith weapon. Just a heads up if anyone didn't know that. So yeah. But then again, like I'm all into Star Wars, like so. I'll watch a lot of stuff that has to do with it. I was very satisfied with the Kenobi series. I really thought that him and Anakin's confrontation was amazing. I love the touch that they did with Vader / Anakin. How when Kenobi struck his helmet with his lightsaber, kind of like splitting it, revealing Anakin's face. And if you paid attention to that and caught all the things in that scenery, like the moment that Anakin was speaking to Obi-Wan, if you notice that the light reflecting off of Vader, like off his face, was a blue hue. And you heard Obi-Wan apologize for everything that happened with the whole Clone Wars and everything, right? But when Anakin, Vader basically explains to Obi-Wan that he didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, that it was Vader who killed Anakin. You see in that moment, because in the first part where, in the confrontation after the battle and Obi-Wan bested Vader again, when Obi-Wan apologized for everything, it was Anakin that cried. It wasn't Vader that cried. You go back, you can YouTube the clip to watch it again, so you don't have to watch the entire episode. But it was the Obi-Wan said, that he was sorry for all of it. That's what Anakin needed to hear, but it was too little, too late. Like he needed to hear that before his fall to the dark side. So yeah, he cried. Anakin was surfacing again, and he cried, but Vader suppressed him, making Obi-Wan feel like that Anakin was dead because he killed him. And from that point, you see that the light in the background, that you can see the red hue off of Vader's helmet and his face. And you also see Anakin's eyes turn from normal to like a gold amber color because his anger was kicking in, his rage was coming back. Vader has no ties to Obi-Wan. He has no feelings towards him. This is why Anakin needed him. He needed Vader. Without Vader, Anakin couldn't have done what he was attempting to try to do, which was to kill Obi-Wan. And then, of course, in The New Hope, Obi-Wan took that from him in their confrontation on, again, where basically Obi-Wan became one with the Force before Vader's saber even struck him. So Vader never got what he wanted. He never got his ultimate moment. A little interesting fact about the Kenobi series, but yeah, I enjoyed the Kenobi series. What do you think about Bad Bunny? I don't care for his music. I don't care for him as a person. I'm a weird, I don't know, to people that I know, because I'm part Hispanic, a lot of people think that I listen to like reggaeton and stuff like that. I don't listen to that. Obi-Wan series was awesome. Yeah, it was. I love how we got to see Obi-Wan reconnect with the Force, right? Which is kind of funny because so now we know, I guess, where Luke got the idea to disconnect himself from the Force, because Obi-Wan was disconnected from the Force. It wasn't until later on, through what Obi-Wan was doing, trying to, protect Leia, trying to protect Luke, is where all that, brought him back to reconnect with the Force. And, his communications with Qui-Gon Jinn and everything. So, but yeah, I don't listen to Bad Bunny. I don't listen to reggaeton music. If you really want to narrow it down to what I listen to a lot of, I would say a lot of grunge rock, like early 90s rock, mid 90s, late 90s, and early 2000s, right? So you're talking about like different rock bands. You're talking about bands like Blink-182, of course, Tom's Side Project, Boxcar Racer, bands like Weezer, Smashing Pumpkins, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Crazy Town, Sum 41, Yellow Card, POD, Stone Sour, Slipknot. Yeah, like a lot of rock music. And then some well, back then they called it trance. Today they call it like I don't know if it's the same thing or if there's like a difference between them, but like EDM that people listen to today, I listen to the old school stuff where we called it trance. There was like, hard trance, house music, like all that type of stuff. I listen to those things, right? So like Paul Oakenfold, Paul Van Dyke, um, Darude, uh, Casey, uh, Binary, a lot of these different DJs. So I listen to them. Some of his songs are all right. Okay. Damn, throwbacking it. Yeah. I know it's like a cliche thing to say that I was a huge fan of Nirvana because like I see like young people today rocking like Nirvana t-shirts, and I'm just like, name me something about the band, and a lot of them go to you know what people go to his song that he hated the most. I always find that funny because like when I tell them like, what do you know about the band? Oh, the lead singer committed suicide. Okay. What is your favorite song from the band? Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I would have to hit them with the fact like, you guys know that Kurt hated that song. He literally made that song to mock the direction of where like music was going, right? Like the early settings of boy bands like New Kids on the Block and whatnot. And so but that song blew up and became popular. For me, my favorite song, I have several, I guess, from each album. So like from Bleach, my favorite song is Big Cheese. Every time I play that, my wife she laughs but also gets annoyed because the lyrics of the song and everything. Plus too, the album Bleach sounded, for anyone who actually really followed Nirvana, if you listen to the Bleach album, the other albums like Nevermind, In Utero, those songs, that style does not sound like their songs in Bleach. Bleach was totally more towards punk rock type vibes, right? It wasn't really grunge until like, In Utero and Nevermind. Those albums kind of like really defined the grunge genre. You had Bleach that was more punk. So, I mean, that's like a Nirvana thing, but like I'm a huge fan of Nirvana. Who knew how big Nirvana could have been with Kurt? Yeah, I know that's like the hardest things, right? You think about it, but I don't know. When I think about it too, it's like it was sad finding out what happened, and what was even more worse was all these investigations to see if there was foul play and all these other things. So that I just felt like that. Kurt never got any peace on that for a while. On top of that, Frances Bean, his daughter, I felt so bad for her because, like I follow her on Instagram and I follow her for like the stuff that she does. She travels around the world. She likes to check out art museums and stuff like that. And everyone hits her with the same thing. And it's like, oh, you must be proud of your dad for this song. You must be proud of your dad for that song. And I can only imagine how she feels because she grew up without her dad. So there's not a lot about her dad that she knows about. She was still very young when the events happened. So Frances Bean never really got to know her dad personally. And to hear a lot of people come at her about, how much they love her dad's music, I mean, yeah, that's got to feel good. But at the same time, you also got to kind of feel like shit. Because then if they start asking you, like, what was it like growing up, in the Cobain home? What could she tell you guys? I mean, in her earliest years, if people forgot, Kurt was heavy using in drugs and everything like that. So he was in and out of rehabs, and then he was touring at the same time, right? So he was hardly ever home. I mean, yeah, he was a down-to-earth guy. I remember I was reading a biography about him, and I believe it was one of his good friends that had said that, he was, even though like he signed to a label and like his music was popping all over the world, and Nirvana was getting known and exposure, he was still a down-to-earth guy. Like, he would literally be humbled and excited if you bought him, like a $25 pair of jeans from JCPenney's, brand new jeans, and then he would go bananas over it. Like, he didn't go out and buy like the most expensive clothes and stuff like that. He didn't burn money like that through his popularity. Nirvana, I hated their music. I loved 70s to now. They're in that time frame, dude. Nirvana was like early 90s. 80s into like late 80s into early 90s because they were doing some stuff before they were discovered. Yeah, a lot of theories say that. Well, because there was a lot for her to gain out of it, and I think what really kind of set that off. There was a guy. He was a lead singer from a band out of what town was it in Washington? I think it was Aberdeen, Washington as well. Anyways, his music never got exposed to the world just because he was an underground rock band. I forgot the name of the band, forgot the name of the guy. I just know like his music videos, they would air on public access TV late night because his music videos tend to have nudity in it. He would have topless dancers in his music videos. But anyways, so he gave like a profile of Kurt when the investigation was going on before they completely ruled it as a suicide, and recanted his report and said that Courtney tried to pay him to take out her husband. And he even went through a methodical plan. And it was said that he was supposed to take him out to the train tracks and drink with him, get drunk, and he was supposed to push him out on the track, make it look like an accident. And so when that came out in the documentary, that just blew up. And then people started going through everything else, including the note that was left behind from Kurt. And people were examining it and they were like, oh, well, if you look at the body of the letter does not match the opening of the letter or the closing of the letter as far as the height of the lettering and the penmanship. It looked like two different handwritings. And there was rumors circulating that Kurt wasn't happy with the fact of Nirvana getting popularity, that he actually was going to quit, like he was going to stop making music. The band was going to end no matter what. And so a lot of people felt like if you go and you Google up the suicide letter from Kurt Cobain and you read it, if you just take out the opening of the letter and then take out the closing of the letter where he apologizes to Courtney and he apologizes to Frances Bean, if you block those out and just read the body of the letter, which I did, it doesn't sound like that he was tired of the world and he wanted to give up. It sounded like he was writing an apologetic letter to his fans on why he's going to stop making music. That's what it feels like. It doesn't really change the dynamic of what his explanations are in that letter until you add the opening and the ending of the letter. That's where it changes it. That's where you read it and you'll get something very different from it. Yeah, apparently the note wasn't even his handwriting. Yeah, the opening and the closing of the letter wasn't his handwriting. The middle body of that letter is his handwriting, but the opening and the closing wasn't. And that's what people said. It doesn't make sense. Like if he was so hopped up on the drugs that he was on because of the amount of horse tranquilizers they found in his was it the toxicology report? They said that there was no way he would be able to lift a shotgun. But on top of that, your handwriting would change if you started the beginning, and when you got towards the end, yeah, we can see that changing there. But having a different handwriting in the beginning of your letter and then having it at the end doesn't fit right. So this is why a lot of theorists came up with that, it wasn't suicide, it was murder. And then of course the song, what the hell is that song called? It's on the Nevermind album. Oh, I can't even remember the name of the song. Ooh, kick the mic. But anyway, but there's a part in the song, Come As You Are. In the song Come As You Are, in the chorus, you hear at certain points where it says, where he says, and I swear I don't have a gun. And so a lot of people were reading into that. There's just a lot of things that are just very finicky about it. And so, yeah. Wow, we just turned this into a Nirvana conversation. Well, crazy. When I came on here on Chromebook, you have ads. Cool. I don't know about the ads. It's funny, as it's strange that celebrities have everything an average person can only dream of, and some celebrities will throw it all away just to do dumb illegal things. Well, see, so here's the thing, right? Michael, you ever heard the terminology that money can't buy you happiness? right? Even when even if it's not money, even if it's not wealth, but when you achieve the one thing that you really, really want, or that you feel like would really, really make you happy, you finally have it, and then you realize you're not happy. This is why a lot of movies that are inspirational kind of have that same flow, right? Person starts off from the bottom, they start to work their way up as you're watching the movie. They get to the climactic point where they're super happy and they've gotten everything that they've ever wanted, but then they've lost a lot of things along the way, and they look back and they fall into depression, and they're willing to give up what they chased so hard after to get back what they had at the very beginning of their journey. This is how it is. This is why you got to have a balance of things. You can't have everything you want in life, but you should have a balance of it. There are some things that you should achieve and be happy about. You can't have everything. I think my son's home from work because I hear the dogs barking. Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. All that falls into it. So like there are people who are wealthy, and they they take solace in crushing people beneath them, right? You have those types of people in the world. Then you got people that gain success, amass wealth, and are lonely as hell, right? Like when you look at movies that kind of portray that, right? Like Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand and Jonah Hill, right? Great movie. You take out all the stuff. You take out all the comical stuff, all the nudity, all the dribble that's just spilling out of Aldous Snow's mouth, and you look at the end and what happened to him at the end, right? He jumped off the top of a roof and broke his arm, hitting the side of the side lip of the pool. And then he opened up to Aaron, and he told him, that he's lonely. He has nobody in his life that's worth giving a damn about. He has his mom, but his mom is an idiot. Everything that he thought was to be true was a lie. He's famous. He's wealthy. He can have any girl he wants. He's proven that. He slept with probably a ton of women, and given them all some sort of disease. And that is a quintessential thing of someone that actually reaches that point, that the height of the mountain. Because as a proverb says, there are many paths to the top of the mountain, but the view is always the same, right? But there's also an extension to that the moment you reach the top of that mountain, there's only one direction for you to go. You can't go any higher. That's going back down. Now, you can either walk down the mountain at a slow pace, or you can make a stupid decision and fall down the mountain and hit the bottom fast. But again, as there's many paths to the top, there's just as many paths to the bottom. That's how it all goes. So, yeah, people who are wealthy are not always happy. Mental illness affected a lot of people, not just singers, but even actors. You know who I feel sorry for the most? That I really, really feel sorry for? Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin, great child actor, right? Great. Love the Home Alone movies. You know a movie I also like that he was in that wasn't part of the Home Alone series? The Good Son. He played a creepy young son who was just checked out. You know what I felt really bad for him for? Not having a childhood. His dad put so much unfair pressure on him that he wasn't able to go to birthday parties or attend school. Because when he got a script to do a movie, his father wanted him to know every line of a movie script by heart. Because his dad felt that would make him the best actor in the industry. Which, if you could remember, if the script was 1,012 pages, if you could remember every one of your dialogues and your emotions and your actions in that script, that way you didn't need to recall. You didn't need to, cut scene, get off set, grab the script, go to the part that that you're currently filming, and remember yourself. That's what his dad did to him. That was crazy. That was insane. And I can only imagine what he did to the brother. Because if you guys didn't know, in Home Alone 1 and 2, Macaulay Culkin's brother was also in the movie. The young boy with the glasses that played his cousin that pees the bed. That's Macaulay Culkin's real brother, if you guys didn't know. So you can imagine what the dad did to them. Like Macaulay Culkin opened up on an interview and talked about it, talked about the things that he went through and what he wasn't allowed to do. And that's the reason why he wanted to get away from acting. So like he did make a smart move when he kind of left acting for a while to try to live some sort of normal life. He was tired of all the unfair pressure. So, he got the fortune and fame, but he didn't get to enjoy the spoils of the fortune and fame because of the greed and the unfair pressure that his father put on him. It's kind of like Michael Jackson, right? You think about the late Michael Jackson, great king of pop, amazing music, right? Like I don't care about the behind the scenes stuff that he did. I'm only talking about his career as a musician. Even till today, like right now on the radio stations, they're playing Thriller all day long. Like every 5 songs they put on Michael Jackson's Thriller. Why? Because the song was incredible. And the music video went even insane to that. But you guys remember the Michael Jackson documentary that was done about him and what Joe Jackson did to him as a child. And people wonder why that he was mentally messed up. Because back then we weren't encouraged to really share our feelings like you are encouraged to share your feelings today. I think today it's gone far beyond sharing feelings because now people want to enact on those feelings. Like not only do they want to share the fact that they feel hurt, but now they want to hurt people in revenge and then feel like it's okay to take revenge. And I'm not with that. Opening up and sharing your feelings about what's going on mentally in your head, I support. But I don't think people should enact upon it or oppress other people because of their mental illness. No. Fun fact, he dated Mila Kunis for like 8 years. Who are you referring to? Michael Jackson or Macaulay Culkin? I think you're referring to Macaulay Culkin. I think Michael Jackson would date Mila Kunis. That'd be strange and weird. Michael Jackson's doctor, in my view. Oh, okay. Michael Jackson was tremendous. He was. He made a lot of good music videos, and he was very good at dancing. Interesting fact, if you guys didn't know, but Janet Jackson helped Michael a lot with his vocals, and Michael helped Janet a lot with choreography. And I think it was funny. I remember when people accused them of being the same person. And so they made that one song together where they shot that crazy music video where they were in space to show that Janet and Michael were 2 different people. Even though, back then people could have been like, oh yeah, they green screened it or something, there could have been, but we didn't do a lot of we didn't challenge the status quo as frequently as we do now. So his music was amazing. I remember, when times when I'd stay home from school sick, I'd pop MTV on and, you would have some of those crazy music videos on there. Thriller scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I do believe at one point there was a Michael Jackson concert that my sister wanted to go to, and I didn't go because I thought he was going to transform into that werewolf. I love the duets Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney did. Yeah, those were good too. Those were very good. Yeah, his music wasn't bad. Yeah, it was sad to hear that there was kids that were, making these accusations about things that happened at, his ranch, Never Neverland. And you got to know that he was really, really twisted up from his childhood days, because what grown man builds a ranch and calls it Never Neverland based from Peter Pan and has carnival rides and games on the property for kids to go to, for him to enjoy. They weren't just for kids to go to. That's why people thought he was so weird, because they were like, only a grown man would create something like this to trap kids. Not remembering and realizing that he didn't have a childhood. His dad used to beat him with a switch. His dad would force them to practice music day in and day out, day and night. So as a grown adult having millions and millions of dollars, what do you expect for someone to do? Well, they're going to get the things they never had in life. And he built himself a carnival, a place for him to go ride rides, little mini roller coasters and stuff like that. And so I think that's why it all got lost in the madness. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying that he's guilty. The only person that would know that would be between the ultimate source and Michael Jackson himself. Those two will know the truth. And of course, the alleged victims, they would know the truth. But of course, they were paid money. Some people say he paid them because he was guilty. Other people say that he paid the families because he just figured that that's what they wanted was the money. money was no object to him. So go ahead, have some money, and live a good life that makes you feel better, and drop the allegations. It was crazy. But yeah, a lot of celebrities do have dark closets with lots of skeletons inside of it. It pissed me off when I found out that Chester Bennington left. When it was announced, because I was at work for Sprint when it happened. When they announced that Chester Bennington passed, that he took his own life, I was mad. Because I've watched interviews. Like, Linkin Park is one of my favorite bands, and I've watched interviews where Chester opened up about depression. So everybody in the band had to know that he suffers from depression, and yet he was still able to achieve that after one of his good friends passed away a year before the same way. I think one of the biggest key determining factors that Chester was about to go was when they released that song "One More Light." That was alarm bells ringing everywhere. But when he passed, I was mad, because we don't get music from Linkin Park anymore. Like, the band has decided to not pursue making music. They've decided to not find another lead singer who could cover Chester's verses and develop new songs. Majority of the band members are just, I guess, in retirement. I do know that they work on projects with Mike Shinoda, and Mike Shinoda still makes music. His I guess you can say, no, they call it a mixtape, but I don't really call it a mixtape. But yeah, Chris Cornell did it before him. But yeah, I wouldn't call it a mixtape, but the album Post Traumatic from Mike Shinoda had some really hard songs on there. Some real hard songs that just really just kind of addressed a lot of shit that was going on with Linkin Park, and it was just insane. Just like, because there's a lot of fans. There is a lot of fans, and I know that they want more music, and I know that some of the fans are okay without replacing Chester at all, but just having Mike Shinoda do all the vocals from now on, because he's been doing it since Minutes to Midnight. Minutes to Midnight had way less rap verses from Mike, and had him sing more melodic verses. Then there was only one song that he actually rapped on there. I think it was Hands Held High. Other than that, everything else was just a lot of him just harmonizing and singing. And then going forward, that's all it really was from Mike Shinoda, was a lot of harmonizing and singing. So yeah, the band could continue on with just Mike Shinoda doing vocals, but Mike has a very big role in the band. Like, he plays guitar, he plays keyboards, he also adapts the synthesizer along with Mr. Hahn. There's a lot of things that he does and plays instruments. So it would be hard for him to just kind of play that entire role unless he really wanted to. But I guess he could, because right now with Post Traumatic and then his new music that he's coming out with, he's playing all the instruments. He does do this really cool thing on his YouTube channel. So if you have a song that you're working on, you can send it to him and hashtag your email or hashtag the link to it with produced by Mike. And he would take your song and he would just start doing all this stuff to it for free, and would just completely edit your song, produce it. Well, so he'll add instruments to it. He'll do the mixing. He'll mix it for production, and then he gives you the song back for you to put on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you're going to release your song at. And he's really good, because I seen some songs, and you can tell they're pretty good bands, they're pretty good singers, they're pretty good rappers, and then you just see Mike's touch to it, where he just starts adding things, and then all of a sudden it just blows up into an insanely good song. So Mike is a very good producer. But of course, he was the lead of his own record label, Machine Shop. And I remember walking around in high school with my CD player and Linkin Park, Burn CD, jamming between classes. Yeah. Back then, I would scour LimeWire, FrostWire, and BearShare, and some other downloading platforms because I was looking for the B-side songs, right? So like for their demo of Crawling, where Mike Shinoda did have a hip hop verse on the B side of it, right? So when they came out with Hybrid Theory, they had redone all their songs. They had renamed a couple of their songs too with new titles to them and changed a couple of structures of the song, right? But you know, if you got the was it the 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory, if you go to the CD with the B sides rarities, then you'll find Crawling, and it's called Crawling in parentheses Demo. And so, like, the verses are similarly the same. There's a few words changed here and there. The bridge is a little bit different, and then the chorus is the same. But then after the second chorus, then Mike has a bridge also, which is just like, you know, where he raps right before it kicks into the third chorus. So that's actually pretty dope as hell. That, you know, that song. And then of course you have In the End, which had entirely different lyrics. And I thought the lyrics for the B-side rarities Linkin Park In the End demo was better than the actual In the End on the debut self-titled album Hybrid Theory. Like, you know, and Linkin Park was like, they were like visionaries in a lot of what they were doing, right? So like, you look in between their first and second album, which a lot of people get this wrong. So Linkin Park's second album was Meteora. It was not Reanimation. Reanimation was just a gift to everybody that was a Linkin Park fan waiting for the second album to come out. They mixed and redid a lot of the songs and even had guest spots from Aaron Lewis from Stain, guest spots from Jonathan Davis from Korn, Static X, and what was the other guy's name? The DJs with the not Static X, Executioners. Well, yeah, the guitars from Static X and the Executioners DJs for It's Going Down, which is one of their other songs from Rarities that they redid. You just had a lot of guest spots in Reanimation, and I thought they did a good job, you know, basically reanimating those songs. Meteora, and I think Linkin Park was one of the few bands that ever suffered that dreaded sophomore album release. Like most bands, they'll come out, their album's good. Their sophomore album, which is their second album, comes out, it doesn't do as good as the first one. Linkin Park's Meteora did just as good as Hybrid Theory when it released, which was crazy that they were able to achieve that. That's how good the band was. And even on top of that, I thought that their way of making music was funny. Like in the album Meteora, the song Somewhere I Belongs, that little sweeping sound you hear, if you guys ever watched you can probably find it on YouTube, but the documentary, for them creating Meteora. So what they were doing was Chester was playing, he was playing on an acoustic guitar. And they had recorded it when he was playing. And so Mike was like, you know, that kind of sounded pretty good. So what they did was they recorded what he was playing on the acoustic guitar. They loaded it, they played it backwards, and they liked the way it sounded backwards. It sounded like it was sweeping, but the progression wasn't right. So then what they did was they played it backwards, but they cut it into 4 pieces and rearranged it in the proper order. So while it was playing backwards, it would be going 4, 3, 2, 1. So they cut it and then they kept it in the backwards formation, but switched it around to 1, 2, 3, 4 in a 4, 3, 2, 1 format. And that's why you get that sweeping sound in the beginning of Somewhere I Belong. That's also throughout the entire song. I mean, they were geniuses. Of course, their music was different from Hybrid Theory and Meteora, because not only because they used I forgot his name, I forgot who the producer's name was, but is it Don Gilmore? I think was their producer for both Hybrid Theory and Meteora. And the reason why it sounds different was because they were a new metal band with a bit of techno from Mr. Han and hip hop combined all together, and they made songs like a rap artist did. So they would record guitars, drums, bass, the DJ synth and scratching on vinyl, They would record all that and make a track. Once that track was created with all those elements combined, then Mike and Chester would go in the booth and lay vocals over that, which is how hip hop artists record. When they did Minutes to Midnight, of course, they hired Rick Rubin, legendary producer, and he did things differently. I watched a documentary where they were recording Minutes to Midnight, and they did things differently. Every one of the band members created music. They created a bunch of stuff at their Pro Tools rigs at home, and they would load them to hard drives, and then they would meet once a week and they would share what they created, right? And so they had like thousands of songs, and they started narrowing down to what they liked and started building off those that they called seeds. And as they built off of those, they they would try different formats. They would track guitars, they would track bass, they would track drums, they would track vocals, and then they would also do it together in the room. They would put them in their own spots in the main room area of the Laurel Canyon house, and they would play it live together, right, with Mike and Chester in these booths for them to lay the vocals, and the bands in individual sections, but playing together. They would play it live. So they did a lot of things differently with Meteora, and that's why their sound changed, because from that they continued to make music that way instead of their original way where they were recording it like a rap artist. That's what really kind of just changed their whole thing. Yeah, we just went into a lot of music. Lots and lots of music. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Let me let you guys go. It's getting late. Y'all were cool. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to, like this talk of music and stuff like that, and my thoughts and stuff about Visible, as well as the new Twitter community. Link in the description to follow the community. You can post pictures, your favorite pictures that you've taken on your smartphone, share them with everybody. We'll get feedback. There's no bullying allowed in there. So if I catch y'all bullying, you will get banned. Don't matter how long you've known me, but if you literally start a fight with somebody else, you will get booted out of there. I don't want none of that drama shit in there. But yeah, share your favorite photos, reasons why, what made you decide to take the photo. We're all ready to check it out. You guys can follow me on my Instagram. Check out my photos I'm going to be posting and building on that. And I leave it at that. And join me next Saturday evening. I'm going to talk about wrestling. My favorite wrestler's back in WWE, Bray Wyatt, man. Oh my god, I'm so excited. When he returned at Extreme Rules, I thought it was cool. The Wyatt Six, or the Wyndham Six is what I refer to him as, but people are starting to call him the Wyatt Six. But anyways, and then his return to SmackDown, his speech, of course, that cryptic message at the end of his speech when the lights cut out again, and then his other speech this past Friday where he promised to do horrible things. So yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to hit the sack. I got to go to work tomorrow. Good thing about this week is, payday, Friday. Yay! Got to go through 4 days to get to my payday. All right, you guys have a great evening. Thank you guys so much. Y'all take it easy. I love you guys very much. Be safe out there. And I will be going live on Halloween as I'm going around with my kids trick-or-treating. So if you guys want to hang out with me, if you aren't doing anything or going to any Halloween parties, look out for that live stream. It'll probably be around this time. Well, not this time, but the time I started. So 7 p.m. my time. I think like 10 p.m. East Coast time. All right, guys. Y'all take it easy. Peace. Yeah, Ryback has a YouTube page. Yeah, I know. Feed me more. I've been following his stuff and his food videos. But okay, let me let you guys go. You guys have a good night.